Welcome back to Firefighter Leadership. In today's episode, we're tackling a fundamental question. What are the 5 most important roles for a leader? Whether you're leading a crew on a blazing fire front or guiding a team in business, understanding these key roles is essential to your success. So let's jump right in. Firstly, the decision maker. Choosing the right path to take is so important. Great leaders make great decisions, and they make them quickly, especially under pressure. Facing a fast-moving wildfire, leaders have to quickly choose the safest and most effective actions. And this is obvious to any firefighter. It doesn't matter whether it's a house fire, a car fire, or any other sort of fire. It impacts on how fast your decision-making has to happen. When something unexpected happens, you're the person who calmly picks the best solution. And look, always, the best solution isn't always the popular one. But if you have your reasons and you consult with your leadership team and listen to them, you need to be flexible, because we all know no matter what you're doing, when you're making decisions, change always happens just as we're about to make the decision, just before we make the decision, and sometimes just after we make the decision. So you're always going to be affected by change. So making decisions really affects your ability as a leader. If you cannot make decisions, and I've said this plenty of times before, step down and let someone who can take over, because real leaders can make decisions and live with them. And that's not always easy. Remember, leaders don't panic. They make smart choices fast. Number 2, the communicator. Making sure everyone's clear about what's going on. Clear communication keeps everyone on the same page and helps prevent mistakes. Giving clear radio instructions ensures that your team stays safe. Clearly sharing your mission and instructions so everyone understands exactly what's expected is essential. You can't achieve your goals on the fireground if people don't know where the goalposts are. It's much easier to say we're going to have this fire contained at this point by that time so that everybody knows what's going on. Setting the standard is super important as well, and communicate that expectation with your team, because they need to know what level of result you expect. Sometimes it needs to be done before it reaches a certain place, or we need it done to protect this asset. Whatever it is, make sure you do set the standard and you do it clearly. Everything you do as a leader is communicating something. Sooner or later, you will have to say no, and you'll have to communicate that as well. Just because you're leading in a situation doesn't mean you're agreeing all the time. You need to know where the line is. You need to understand that people also need to be told that occasionally, and you need to be clear about that. Remember, communication isn't always about what comes out of your mouth. It's also your face and your body language and what you do. People are watching. They can't tell what the actual conversation's about, but you're communicating things with your body and how you react. So make sure you clearly communicate that you're in charge, you're the leader, and this is how you expect it done. That doesn't mean you don't explain why if they ask. Be fair and understand sometimes your team will want more information. Remember, good leaders speak clearly, simply, and directly. Number 3, the motivator. Be their cheerleader. Leaders help their team stay positive and driven, especially when things get tough. Encouraging tough firefighters when they're tired to keep going, when the job is a long way from being finished, is really, really hard. You know they're exhausted. You know they need a break, but sometimes that's not an option. You can boost your team's spirits during challenging jobs, and that will help them reach their goals. Yes, you're there to make decisions. Yes, you're there to communicate what you want done, but also you're there to support them. They're your team. Show them that. Your word is far more powerful than some high-ranking officer they don't know. They will do it for you, but they won't do it for someone else. Make sure you always are standing alongside your team and be there when they come home or they leave for a job. They like to see you. They like to know that you care enough to be there and to say, hey, how'd it go? Or good luck out there today. That's part of the motivation you can bring to your team, and it doesn't cost you a lot. Even a phone call to a crew leader or a station officer or someone to get that message across is really, really important, because not everybody wakes up in the best frame of mind. Sometimes we all need motivation. Don't ever ask your team to do what you wouldn't do yourself. As far as I'm concerned, this is the ultimate test of leadership. You've got people who walk in and tell you should do things, and yet they've never, ever actually faced that in real life. And as far as I'm concerned, they're managers. They will never be leaders, no matter how good they are. If they've experienced it and they understand what it's like to be there, then they're a great leader. Always ask people, never ask people to go beyond what you would do yourself. It's just not fair, and it shows you don't understand the situation. Great leaders inspire their team to keep going. The mentor, guiding and growing your people. Leaders teach others, preparing them to handle responsibility. One of our most powerful things we can do is to train the next generation of leaders. We train our new firefighters to lead safely and confidently, so that when the time comes for them to step up, they are prepared to do that. You're helping people learn new skills so that they can take on bigger roles as they move on in the fire service and in life. As a firefighter, we're mates, but I'm in charge. So I'm your friend, I'm your mate when we're on the fireground together, but if there's decisions to be made, if there's commands to be given, remember that I'm the one in charge. And that goes for you too. You're the one in charge of your crew. Always be there for your people. Try your best to take their phone calls and take actions on their problems if they have them. Remember, they're looking to you. You are mentoring them in everything you do, every conversation you have with them. Just remember, that is something they will take into the future with them, and do your best. You're not going to be perfect and you're going to make mistakes, but that's fine. That happens. But if you do make a mistake, make sure you apologize and accept that. When you're mentoring people, make sure you demonstrate the response you'd like to see within reason. In other words, it's great to say how to do something, but demonstrating it is even better. Real leaders help other leaders become better leaders too. The visionary, planning ahead. Leaders keep an eye on the future, anticipating what's next and preparing their teams for what's coming. Predicting how a fire might behave and planning ahead to keep everything safe. And for leaders, it's just a little bit more complex because we look at a bigger section of the fire. Seeing where your organization needs to go and creating a clear plan to get there takes quite a bit of work. It means working closely with your other leaders. It means working with everybody in your team. But when you work together to pull that plan, to lead the way and have vision for your organization, you allow others to have their input, have their say, have a discussion about it, but influence where they want things to go in the future as well. You may see things one way, they may see it the other, but there is compromise to be had there. Involve your team in your planning, because you won't be there forever, no matter how much you want to be there. As paid staff, at 65, you get kicked out. As volunteers, you can stay a bit longer, but the fact of the matter is, sooner or later, you're going to get tired, or you're going to get injured, or you're just going to be ready to move on. So someone needs to be able to take over, and it's up to you to make sure that that person is ready to step up. Understand that when you're planning the future, you need to try and get everyone on the same page if you're going to move forward. So build a leadership team that you can trust completely. Leaders aren't just focused on the now. They're always thinking ahead of what comes next. So there you have it, the 5 essential roles of effective leadership: decision maker, communicator, motivator, mentor, and visionary. Master these roles and you'll successfully navigate any challenge, whether you're facing the flames or life's obstacles. If you'd enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you subscribe to Firefighter Leadership and check out my book, Run Towards the Flames, which is available on Amazon. Don't forget to share this episode with others who are ready to step up as leaders. Thanks for listening, and remember, when things go wrong, run towards the flames.